Guten Tag. Guten Tag, Damen und Herren. Ich spreche Deutsch, just a little bit.
Setzen Sie sich doch gerne schon mal. So great that you made it.
That's out of my Deutsch knowledge.
Sollen wir Deutsch sprechen?
Kleine.
Okay, we try. So this is Yevgeny Valentinovich Kaspersky. Did I say it kind of?
Yes, that's
okay,
correct.
Thanks. You're 52, correct?
Yes.
You have 5 kids?
Yes.
Cool. So you went to the technical faculty of the KGB,
Yes.
In 1987, got a degree in mathematical engineering, computer technology, whatever. And 1989, a virus hit your computer.
89.
Did I say 99? No, it's 89.
1989, the Cascade computer virus was very interesting one. And I had the Olivetti M24 computer with a 20 megabytes hard drive. And I have the copy of that. I have the same computer in my office as a memory.
So you started writing a little bit of code to kind of erase the virus, and you found more and more of them. And then you had the first kind of code set with, I think, some dozens of virus definitions in it already. So, and today, your name is a household name. You run a company with more than 3,000 people, I think.
Almost 4.
Headquartered in Moscow.
Yeah.
Your flagship product today has something like millions of risk definitions, maybe?
We collect about 300,000 new unique malware a day.
A day, right.
300,000 different pieces every single day, except Christmas, New Year, Chinese New Year, the football cups.
Okay. So in hundreds of millions of users use in one way or the other your code. You detected Stuxnet, for example, so maybe the first official cyber weapon, which was launched against Iran by the US and Israel. And I think you are a billionaire, only 1 digit, but...
I don't care. I have a very interesting job. And
that's great.
I have enough of money to my life.
So
and I have Swatch.
Oh, Swatch, yeah, right.
And I still don't have smartphone.
Yeah, I know. It's a poor Russian guy.
Not poor, but I don't need it.
So there's this Russian paradox again. We had it before. You run an extremely respected, leading cybersecurity company based in Russia.
Maybe the best company.
Yeah, but how is that possible? How can you do that in Russia?
It's very simple. Actually, Russia has the best software engineers. Russian software engineers are the best. Condoleezza Rice said it.
Why is that so?
Education system, technical education system. So actually, I am the product of the mathematical school, then
KGB.
Cryptographic. So it still exists as cryptographic academy. And still we have many very talented engineers graduated every year. We are very happy with the Russian engineers. And there also the very positive feedback about Russian software engineers from Silicon Valley, from UK, from Israel. Russian software engineers are the best. The other side of the coin, Russian cyber criminals are the worst. It's true.
What about the government, by the way? So,
speaking about the state-sponsored attacks which we see, we can't point a finger to some particular nation until there is a data leak, like recent leaks in WikiLeaks and shadow brokers. So now we have proofs that it's made by CIA, this is made by NSA. But technically speaking, in the rest of the stories, we can't point a finger. But we can recognize the language, we can recognize the time zone, we can see there some other things. So the most spoken languages in state-sponsored state-sponsored attacks: native English, Atlantic time, native Russian, Eastern European time, simplified Chinese, and they don't work on it during the Chinese Golden Week. And Russians, they don't, for Russian-speaking attacks, they are not so active during their Russian winter holiday. German as well, but much, much less.
Let's come back to the paradox for a second. So obviously your business is harmed these days by the current conflict, Russia, US, right? It's forbidden now for federal US agencies to run your software. Best Buy stopped selling your products. How big is the loss caused by these restrictions for you?
Actually, we're expecting to have the loss in the United States by some percents, but less than 10%. But the other side, we have increasing growth in other regions, in Latin America, in Middle East, in Asia. So they read this news in a different way. So I know what you're speaking about, of course. So it's like the main topic, what's going on in the United States. Actually, they published so much bad news about the company. And they didn't publish any hard data. So they didn't publish any fact. So we started our internal investigation to find out what's about. We found zero. Of course, we confirmed that once we got the NSA malware from the computer, but that's exactly what our product is designed to do. We recognize it's a new malware.
Maybe
we are paid for that. So, of course, you know the story.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if everyone in the audience knows the story. So there are claims that your software has been used to tap into computers to listen into other machines because it's installed at a massive base. And hackers had used the software, or even the Russian government could have used your software to spy on other countries.
Well, it's technically very, very, very unlikely because the software is developed by the teams of engineers, and actually it's very transparent, so it's not possible to hide anything there. Second, if there is such evidence, please provide me the technical details. Which product, which version, which module, there's offset in a body. I will find who is responsible for that. Or provide me the data that someone else hacked my products. Actually, we made a security audit. We found zero. There is nothing wrong there. We found nothing wrong.
I know you have been asked this many, many times. Have you ever been approached by the Russian government to help to gather information?
Never. The only way we communicate with this agency is to help them to investigate and to arrest the Russian cybercriminal gangs. For example, the Carbon gang, which badly hit Russian and European banks 2-3 years ago. It was investigated by Russian FSB, and we provided the technical details about the tools the gang used.
Are you sure that none of your colleagues has been approached?
Actually, it's not possible to do anything wrong without being recognized in my company. So that's the engineers, they're working again in groups. They're working the same projects. So every piece of the code is seen by different people. It's very, very, very almost impossible to hide anything. Even if it happens, our products, they're the same for everyone. Our database updates, they're the same on our public service. I'm pretty sure there are hundreds of eyes watching through our products and through our updates. If there's anything wrong, it had to get public.
Did you read Andrei's book, by the way?
No.
You didn't. It's interesting. You're in it. So Andrei describes in his book the situation of Russian IT companies after 2014 changed. So Crimea crisis changed something. Did you see a change? Did you feel a change?
No.
Okay.
Zero.
So
that's why I'm not interested in this book.
Okay. Yeah,
I think that we live in different realities.
So Andrei once said as a comment, I cannot sometimes it's difficult for you to comment on things the Russian government does, I have the feeling. So you try, no? Never?
No.
Okay. So there were, for example...
except the cases when there's an active investigation is going on, and we are asked by Russian government not to disclose the data which we can ruin investigation. Same happens in Europe when we assist Europol or European cyber police forces to investigate their crime in Europe, and they ask us not to disclose some data. We don't do that until we have a green line. Our cooperation with Russian law enforcement, Russian government, is exactly the same what we do in Europe, in Americas, in Asia, in the rest of the world. We help the good guys to fight with the cybercrime. We help them to defense, and we never, never, never did, we don't do, and never will do, helping them in offensive way. That's it.
So, for example, when 2011, I think, during the elections, you had these massive denial of service attacks against media outlets in Germany and social media websites. And you declined to comment on it, or you said, I don't know who's behind this. And Andrei said as a comment, I cannot explain Kaspersky's ignorance by anything, but conscious intention to take the Kremlin's side, a position very weird for the independent expert he claims to be.
Yeah. We have our sensors to see what's going on with the botnets and all these DDoS attacks. And the first day, we didn't see, well, actually the story was that the first day we got zero information. And the same day there was a comment from one of the victims that it's a technical problem on their side. So that's why the first day I said, we don't see any DDoS attack. And the second day, I published the different news. I confirmed that I was wrong. So the DDoS attack is going on, but we don't see the source of this attack. So unfortunately, our sensors, they were not so good to see the source. Unfortunately, still we don't know who was behind this attack.
Last question about the Russian government. So in last December, suddenly some intelligence experts got arrested. One of them worked for your company, right?
Yes.
So why?
I have no idea. The only thing I know that he was arrested because of some things he did before he joined the company. So it's not related to our business and his activity during this job time in the company.
I just wanted to invite you to come to move your operations to Germany. A lot of cool hackers hang around now these days in Berlin. Why don't you relocate?
In Russia.
You're happy in Russia?
In Russia, it's less expensive.
Okay, that's true. Cheap.
What we're going to move to Europe, we're going to open the transparency center here. So we're going to give their government and respected security experts access to our product source code, to our database sources, and to the rest of the information to prove that we have nothing wrong in our products. Again, the comment about Russian government. If we are asked by any government, including Russia, to disclose our traffic, if it has any kind of personal data, we will move it away from the country.
Who knows?
If I'm strictly asked by Russian government to do anything wrong, I will emigrate.
Come to Berlin.
Why?
It's free.
I like Australia.
Okay.
It's better climate.
Who in the audience knows who the shadow brokers are? Did you ever hear of that name? Okay. You know who the shadow brokers are?
I don't know the names, and I don't know the nation they're from.
Any theory about them?
No. Well, I'm working with cybercrime and cyber malware, but not this kind of investigation. Unfortunately, I don't. If I knew who the shadow brokers are, well, maybe most probably report it to law enforcement.
You can say something about the impact of the tools they unleashed, right? You're tracking all these signatures around the web. So how big is the impact of the shadow brokers opening up all the good stuff from the NSA?
I don't remember the event I was speaking about, but I said about a year ago, the worst case scenario, if the tools from the professional government state-sponsored operations gets to public, it will be the worst case scenario because the bad guys all around the world that have access to the professional technologies. It happened.
And can you share numbers? What percentage of new security problems arises due to these tools?
I don't know.
Your company is tracking that. So.
Well, actually, for us, it was not really a problem because we detected it. So we're the best. So we stopped that.
So all this cyber warfare and crime is great for your business, but at the end, it's
unfortunately.
Yeah, but it's great. But it's all about trust. So if the US doesn't trust Kaspersky anymore, you have a problem, right? How can you reestablish that trust?
I think it's a different problem because after all this, the bad news about the company, we made the investigation and were speaking to other people and we were collecting the opinions. And finally, I think we just made somebody very, very, very disappointed. How could we do that? How we can make someone very disappointed? Just to do our job, to detect something. And we were only one to detect and eliminate something very important. I don't know what. But to me, it's the only possible scenario.
Why don't you use a smartphone? Can you show your phone again? What is it again? It's a Nokia or
Sony Ericsson.
Sony Ericsson. It's ancient, right?
I like it.
Okay. Do you still get service for it?
Listen, when I travel, I'm not alone. So when I need a smartphone, someone has it.
Okay. So what's your I asked that before. What's your private setup? Do you use these devices? What's your
computer?
What kind of computer?
Oh, Lenovo.
Okay.
The latest model.
Okay.
The Sony camera Alpha 9. Sony RX100, so I have many pictures on the way, so I publish them. I have a blog, so you can see my location by my blog.
Okay, Alexa at home or something like that? So the Amazon Echo thing at home?
Well, at home I have 3 little kids. They're not compatible with all these devices.
Okay. So what would you recommend? Is it more secure to use Apple devices because it's a rather closed environment, or
it's a problem of security and flexibility. Many years ago, I said, actually, I made a bet with one of my guys. I said that if Apple goes the same way and Google goes the same way, in 5 years after that, Android will have 80% of market share and Apple will have a 10% of market share in users. And he was smiling on me because that time, Apple with iPhones was like the huge, huge giant. 3 years after that, Android got 80% of market share because they're flexible. So the problem is that if you have a secure system, it's more complicated to develop software and distribute the software. They are open systems, the free systems, they are more flexible, but unsecure. So when you were in the previous discussion, we had a question about security by design.
Yeah.
We are working on that.
Yeah, since years, many, many years, right?
Yes, since 2002.
Yes. Why didn't you succeed to roll out something?
It's not easy.
Why?
And it's expensive.
So there used to be this secret room in your company?
No, it's not secret room. There are many people knew that.
So it's not secret, but I'm not allowed to go there, right?
Yes, please.
Okay. So you're developing this...
Next time you're in Moscow, yeah, please, all the doors are open.
That's great. I come. And so,
you will enjoy that. We will show you such the devices based on the secure operating system, the new stuff which we do. Yes, actually we do many things. We even have the table game like Monopoly on the cybersecurity, and it's cool.
Why is it so hard to design security?
Because the security is fight with bad guys which attack you. So it's not just like developing some technologies to fight with the nature. Nature has a very simple rules. The humans, sometimes they are too smart, and especially the bad guys. So that security is the fighting, the human brains, they fight with the human brains. So that's why it's not so easy. So the good guys, we are getting better. So the bad guys, they're getting better as well. You mentioned Stuxnet. In 2010, it was only one highly professional group engineering the project. Now we are monitoring more than 100 highly complicated, very professional, 100 different projects. About 10, 15 of them, they're criminal. All Russian speaking. The rest, they're state sponsored. Native English, native Russian, native Chinese, broken English, and many other. Spanish, French, Arabic, German, Italian.
Who are the most advanced state-sponsored hackers on this planet? Russians, right?
Russians and Americans.
Chinese?
Well, I made a mistake. English-speaking and Russian-speaking.
Because we don't know.
Well, about some Americans, we know from the leaks, information leaks. Chinese, they are massive, but they are not really the same level. So they are very active, but they are not on the same technological level.
You have also had some suggestions to build a new kind of more secure internet, right? How could that work?
Unfortunately, they are just dreams, and now we have the internet as it is, and I'm afraid it will not during my lifetime. We will see some security improvement in the network itself. But I will do my best to introduce secure platform to make the devices in the internet much more safe and secure.
How secure are our banks?
Banks?
Yes, one sentence. How secure are our banks?
When I mentioned these Russian-speaking gangs, unfortunately, they are able to hack these even very well-protected banks. Do you know about Carbonac, for example?
Yeah.
So they hacked the very well-protected banks as well. Of course, it was not like you make a click, you're infected. It was much more complicated. So first of all, they infected the front-end computers, like their sales guys, technical support, and they kept silence. They did nothing. They were just watching what's going on. They were waiting for the system administrator coming to manage their computer. So they were learning how network looks like. They were watching what's employee doing, the behavior, the employee's behavior. And then step by step, they got another computer, another part of network, and step by step getting deeper, deeper, and deeper. That takes weeks and months. And finally, they were owning the banks.
You even discovered software that steals Bitcoin money, right? Which is impossible by mathematical proof, but there are ways around this.
Once we had the case, then their ATM vendor, the company which makes the ATMs, we said, so ATM released the cash, and their criminals, they don't even touch the ATM. They said, it's impossible. Yes, it's possible.
How secure is our critical infrastructure? Power plants, stuff like that, but the basic stuff.
It's a very, very pessimistic situation. I still don't know why we're still alive. I'm not kidding. Unfortunately,
you never. So your employees weren't allowed to talk too much about this many years ago, and then you saw a movie, right? And then you changed your mind because everybody.
Die Hard 4.
Why did you change your mind seeing Die Hard 4?
Before that, it was forbidden in my company to pronounce cyber terrorism when you speak to public or to journalists.
Okay.
I didn't want to speak about that because I recognize it as a Pandora box. And then the Hollywood made this movie and said, okay, now we are free, because they just explained everything.
So how could we get killed? So you're wondering why we...
Unfortunately, this is a very wide audience, and I don't want to be advisor. I will answer in a different way. We depend on cyber. The cyber is so much around. It's good, because the cyber changed our life. It introduced much more abilities. Well, decreased the privacy, but increased our abilities. And we depend on that. So it's literally everywhere. So there are power grids, transportation. When you drive your car, do you think you still drive the car? No, it's simulator. Yes? Do you remember in the past when you used the handbrake? Not anymore, the button. It's, okay, so even the hotel, what is the first smart thing you see in the hotel you're staying? The door, because you unlock the door with the card. So it's everywhere around us. Unfortunately, all that is based on unsecure platforms. Unfortunately, the professional hackers, they can influence on many, many, many systems. Just recent cases, attack on Ukrainian power grid, blackout. Is it possible to do the same in Germany? Attack on a German steel mill, badly damaged. Someone touched their water cleaning facilities in the United States last year. But to me, it seems it wasn't an attack. To me, it seems like someone found the IP address in the internet, got there and found some website, a web panel, didn't understand, changed it a little bit, I don't know, and left. Maybe. So unfortunately, we see more and more incidents with infrastructure.
What's your biggest fear for the next 5 years? You can't talk about it. Watch Die Hard.
Okay, so we have a critic. What do we depend on mostly? The power. Yes? If we have a problem with power grids or power plants, that's the end of our civilization. Correct?
Okay.
So, and then transportation, urban facilities, financial services, telecommunications, etc., 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 etc. It's also depend on the nations. For example, in Germany, if you have a problem with water facilities, you have a river. If the same happens, say, in Emirates,
okay.
No, it's not okay.
Actually, I stole you some minutes of your coffee break time. So have a nice coffee break with hot coffee and the lights on. It's safe.
The coffee
there.
machine is still...
It's a church, you know.
By the way, do you know when the first time I saw the coffee machine connected? About 10 years ago in Japan. There was a coffee machine connected just for communication, because someone wanted to know that your parents, they had a coffee, so they are alive. So they have a coffee, there's a ping sent to the internet and arrives to your smartphone. So the kids, they were sure that the parents are okay, they had a coffee.
Have a coffee, be alive. Thank you very much.
And be okay.